Hi everyone. This is Amit from CXOTV, and a very warm welcome to all of you. And good morning, good evening, and good afternoon for many of us. We have a very special guest today, who is Mr. Nageen Kommu. He is the founder and CEO of Digitap.ai. So, very warm welcome on behalf of each of you, Mr. Nageen, in this very interesting fireside chat.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you for having me on.
It's my pleasure. So let's start with about talking about the landscape of the B2B Fintech in India. So can you tell us how has the B2B Fintech landscape evolved over the last few years in India? And can you also provide insights into the historical challenges that businesses faced in managing their finances before the rise of B2B Fintech?
So basically, before we talk about fintech companies that work in this B2B space, right? We might have to take a little step back to understand the evolution of the fintech industry itself, right? Because predominantly the B2B fintech space revolves around this B2C fintech, right? Most of our clients that we work with are the clients that serve the end customers, right? So now, if you see, traditionally, even before, say, 2015, 2016 sort of a time frame is what I would like to look at. Before 2015, 2016 sort of a time frame, if you see a lot of fintech, there used to be very less fintech frankly, right? The only fintech that was getting to evolve at that particular point was around payments, right? Lending was still at a very decent stage. People did not believe in the concept of, say, for example, digital lending at all, right? People were very afraid to do that digitally. They didn't know whether lending can be done without even looking at the person, right? Which is what currently, now if you look at the scenario in 2023, most people are like now going and saying, okay, I want to learn digitally. I don't care. I don't really, don't need to see the face of the person. I don't really need to know him. All I need is certain data for that particular person, and then I'm good to go, right? But that wasn't the case in 2015. A lot of this lending and a lot of, in general, the fintech, right, or the finances were happening offline, right? There used to be a transport, even for banks. There was an advent of internet banking, but that's again only on the desktops and laptops, right? Apps were still not very popular. Even the smartphone penetration was not that as high back in 2015, right? We were just in the process of evolving and then making all that happen. Especially in the financial sector space.
Yeah.
And at that particular point in time, there weren't any B2B finance companies operating much. The only B2B finance companies were your payment gateways that started evolving around about that particular time. Right? The guys like whoever wanted to do an online payment, they said, okay, we will provide you with certain solutions where you could open up, where we will have tie-ups with the banks. The banks are not able to provide these solutions, so we will become the intermediary for you to handle all your payment solutions. Post 2015, 2016, I think a lot of companies started lending as well, right? And that is when I think there has been biggest boom in terms of the B2B fintech as well. Once the lending companies started digitizing their entire processes and then said, okay, we'll start lending also in a digital manner, right? Now you've had a lot of fintechs also, B2C fintechs also coming up, which were specifically focused on lending. Like you have the likes of Navi, Profitability, or MoneyView. So a lot of fintechs like that who said, okay, we are only lending oriented fintechs, right? They also started moving around. And these fintechs, because they relied the entire journey in a digital manner, they didn't have the bandwidth or they didn't have the resources to pull the entire journey on their own in completely digital fashion, right? So they had to rely on certain partners where they said, hey, you know what, these particular validation solutions or these particular verification solutions or these particular solutions where we wanted some data to be pulled out about this particular individual, right? Why don't we rely on certain third parties where I would rather focus on my own capabilities and my own operations in terms of lending and in terms of getting the money back. But I would rather take these solutions from certain third party vendors, right? I think that is the genesis of how the entire B2B fintech industry started. Apart from the elements industry, right? I think that is when people realize that, okay, there is a huge need for, in order to do KYC, right? Or there is a huge need for online signing of documents. Right? Now there is a huge need for video verifications. There's a huge need for in-ash setups, right? In-ash mandates to be done and auto presentations and auto debates to be done. I think it was in a way the lending industry that actually gave birth to this B2B fintechs, apart from the payments or the payment gateways that you actually see today, right? That's been the historical evolution. So they initially, a lot of these B2B fintech companies initially said, okay, we see a very huge opportunity here. The entire process of onboarding a customer, now whether it be for account opening in a bank, or whether it be for taking an insurance policy, or whether it be for taking a loan, right? Or even for that matter, whether it be for even investments, right? There is a huge gap that these B2B fintech companies are seeing that there is a need for digital onboarding solutions, right? So in all these financial institutions or in all the companies that sell these financial products, the biggest gap that they saw was on the digitization of the entire onboarding, right? How do I onboard the customer without collecting physically the KYC copies from that particular customer, right?
Yep.
And obviously, the advent of UDI infrastructure and all played their own part, because UDI and the government of India are also kind enough to allow the consumption of the other information, digital other information, to various secure and API means, right?
Mm.
So initially, a lot of B2B companies started focusing on, hey, you know what, we will give you an onboarding platform where you could onboard customers fast. So whatever process you need to take 3 days previously, we will do it for you in 3 hours. Whatever process you take 3 weeks, we will be able to do it for you for 3 days, right? So that was a very low-hanging fruit, a very easily available opportunity for a lot of these B2B companies saying, I will digitize the entire onboarding process, right?
Yeah.
That is how they started. And that's the evolution, and that's the genesis of. So if you look at a lot of this to 2017, 2018, 2019, even during COVID, right? Or a pre-COVID scenario, that was the focus of a lot of these companies. How do I digitize onboarding? Whether it be for loans or whether it be for account openings or insurance or investments, any financial product, how do I onboard the customers digitally, right? Then post-COVID and even like today, right? And that's how the evolution has been, right? Now people have started treating these solutions as commoditized solutions, because there is not much of a differentiation that you can bring in, apart from telling that, you know what, the models that we have built for onboarding clients are all so mature that you wouldn't find much difference between, say, a vendor X versus a vendor Y offering these solutions. Now, in that particular market, what happens is the major drawback that happens is that everything comes down to price. I mean, once the solution becomes a commoditized solution, it is only the price point differentiation that comes in, right?
Yeah.
In terms of evolution now, these B2B companies are now looking at data-oriented solutions, right? Based on just few pieces of information about the customer, either by taking the consent from the customer or by looking at, say, a publicly available information. How do I get the maximum data about that particular individual or about that particular business, which can help my clients, which are like the fintechs, right? In order to take certain decisions, or say, for example, is he the right person for me to lend? Is he the right person for me to sell an insurance? Does he need insurance? Is this the right time for him to take insurance, right? So now we see a lot of tremor for companies that are wanting to do, data-oriented solutions, right? So they are actually in the lookout for data enrichment products. Okay, I have onboard, I mean, both for their own customers and others new to their platform customers as well, right? Over the last few years, because of this digital onboarding, they were able to achieve massive scale. Like when they had this brick and mortar branch models, right? They used to onboard, for example, say 1 lakh customers a month. But with the digitized model, they were able to scale it 10x. Right? They were able to onboard 10 lakh customers a month. I'm just giving an example. Now, what they are realizing is, okay, we've onboarded these 10 lakh customers a month. Out of these 10 lakh, we've been able to sell to only a lakh or a couple of lakh customers. What more data can I obtain about these 2 lakh customers that I can cross-sell more to that particular customer, right? What more data can I obtain about these 8 lakh customers who did not maybe might not have like some of the products that I offered at that particular point in time. But is there an opportunity for me to reach out to those 8 lakh customers now? What more data points can I get about those 8 lakh customers, right? Then there is also a huge push from these fintech companies to understand customers who are coming new to their platforms, right? So, and not just from an onboarding. So they know that once they need something, onboarding solutions are already available where you could onboard the customer. But once I onboard or even before I onboard, how do I get more data about these customers so that I can sell the right product at the right time? Point number one. And then point number two is understand whether if I sell this to him, whether he will repay these products, whether he has a capability to repay them, right? So this is the in future also, like in the next 2 to 3 years, especially with the advent of account aggregators and all that, right? I think this is the paradigm shift that you will see specifically on the B2B Fintech companies, because they will have to now mold themselves away from just being onboarding helping companies to companies that will be able to provide recommendations and analytics on top of the data that they're able to generate. Right now, I think coming to the next question that you have, which is in terms of the challenges that some of these B2B fintechs have seen over the years, right? I mean, see, the major challenge, in my opinion, are in very two areas, historically, right? One was during COVID, right? I mean, there was a huge challenge in terms of how do we sustain during the COVID period, because eventually their clients were not doing any business, and hence no business was coming to these particular B2B fintech companies, right? Whether it be payment gateways or whether it be onboarding companies and all those. Now the major part is basic, and the challenge that we see nowadays is basically on the price points and competitive landscape, right? I mean, now we see a lot of competition, a lot of players mushrooming in the market, and because of the competition that is out there, we've also seen a lot of players taking a step back and then saying, maybe this is not us, right? So we've seen players like previously there used to be players like Advanced AI or Chain and all that, right? I mean, we don't hear them, right? It's the players who've been able to sustain in this industry for like 3-4. We've been able to sustain this price pressure from the smaller companies that are coming in. They are the ones that are now able to capture the market. For, in my opinion, at least up to 8 players to be present. But I think it's a question of being there, being sustainable, and then being offering solutions to players. Yeah, very good.
So, what we can see in the current scenario, in fact, over the last 1 year, we are seeing that the investment trends in the startup space has not been very much favorable to the market. Okay, so if you look at the B2B fintech space, so according to you, what are the current investment trends in the B2B fintech space, and how demand for B2B fintechs is growing over the last few months?
So if you look at the investment, right, I mean, there has been an investment winter sort of thing going on across the entire functionality, right? And it's not just the B2B fintech or the fintechs that are getting affected. It is predominantly each and every sector, whether it be an edutech or a health tech, that is having a funding winter sort of thing. Okay. But having said that, B2B fintech, in my opinion, is slightly different from that point of view, because most companies in the B2B fintech space have demonstrated their ability to show profitability, right? If you see, a lot of these companies were not profitable for quite some time, right? Now, barring the payment gateways, if you look at a lot of the companies that are focusing on SaaS and AI-based models, or providing SaaS-based solutions or AI-based solutions, right? That might be the B2B fintech companies and all that, or even outside of B2B fintechs, right? They have demonstrated the ability to show profitability, not just revenue, right? That I think wouldn't be the most deciding factor in terms of the investments coming back into this particular sector going forward. If you ask me, in terms of the trends, the revenue trends and all, I think the last couple of years have been fantastic for these companies. Specifically after the second wave, as like post 2021, if you see, there's a huge uptake of digital onboarding and digital data solutions from a lot of these fintech companies saying, hey, you know what, post-COVID, actually, post-COVID, what happened was a lot of consumers of the banks or these financial institutions have become digitally savvy, right? So the supply side became digitally savvy, but the the demand side became digitally savvy, but the supply side was still working out of branches and things like that, right? So the post-COVID is suddenly realized that, you know what, a lot of customers are coming in and then saying, yeah, why don't we have an app? Why can't I do this through an app or a website, right? I mean, why do I have to come to a branch, or why do I have to call your call center service, right? So the last 2 years, I think, even at the scale, each one of these B2B fintech companies have seen their scale grow 2x year on year at a pace, right? That's the huge impact, and that's the huge trend that we have been seeing. And they have also been able to do that revenue growth of 2x by becoming profitable, or at least reducing their negative margins year on year. I think these SaaS companies have shown the way to a lot of companies in terms of how they can become profitable. And that trend will bear a lot on the investment front. The one problem area that I still see in the investment side for these SaaS companies is that because of their revenue potentials and their profitability, right? It is still early stages for me to see whether there will be huge clamor for investment in this sector. I mean, the investors might come in and then say, hey, you know what, you don't need the money, you become profitable, right? So now how do I value you? How do I give you that money, right? I mean, sometimes those sort of conversations also kick in. But in my opinion, I think in the long run, once there is an exit that these B2B fintech companies look out for, either to an IPO or a potential sale, right? I think the returns that you would be looking at the time of exits will be exponentially high when compared with, say, even a B2C fintech companies.
Very good, very good. So my next question would be around the Digitap business model, to understand it better. So can you let us understand that how exactly Digitap works in terms of analyzing, given the financial analytics and reporting, leveraging data, and what are the cost-saving benefits that enterprises could derive from adopting fintech solutions from Digitap?
Sure. So as I also pointed out, right, and we've also gone through the same sort of a journey, like how the industry has went through, right? I mean, initially we started off by providing a lot of onboarding solutions to our clients, wherein we were actually helping them in terms of digitizing their onboarding journey, right? Now, the major advantage with regard to the digitization cost of the onboarding journey is that we help our clients to achieve scale. As I told you previously, when they were onboarding, say, 10,000 customers in a month, with the digitization in place, they could look at now onboarding 1 lakh, 2 lakh customers in a month, which is like a 10x, 20x sort of a scale, which they could never have imagined had they been traditionally doing a business in the brick and mortar like sort of way, right? But what one needs to also understand is once the scale kicks in, you need to have the right risk management processes in place. You need to have the right fraud detection solutions in place as well, right? Otherwise, handling fraud, identity thefts, or handling risk in a scale of 10,000 customers is a lot more different than handling these same problems or challenges at a scale of 2 lakh customers. That is the next challenge that we foresee, right? And we foresaw. And then we said, okay, we need to now start addressing these challenges and build the solutions around these pieces, where we said onboarding is fine, we are onboarding them, but we also tell you whether you are onboarding the right customer, right? So we developed a lot of fraud identifications, identity theft sort of solutions, and document theft sort of solutions to help our clients to mitigate those risks and challenges, right? Now, as we speak, over the last 1.5 years, we've been focusing a lot on data-oriented solutions. Now, once we have identified and onboarded the right customer to our client, how do we serve those customers better, right? Either as your own existing customers, or even if you are now looking at, say, new sort of customers, what more data can we gather with these new customers that will help you in order to serve these customers better? They might come to your platform to take a loan, but you know what? We've just seen that he's also looking out for an insurance policy because his insurance policy is expiring next month, right? So why don't you offer him good insurance policy that you have as well. Why is there on your own platform, right? Because you need to capture the customer at the right time. I mean, these fintech companies are not like your social media platform, right, where the user comes back again and again. I mean, you would have the same traffic or same MAU or DAU sort of levels that you would have on WhatsApp on a platform like an ICICI Bank. You might open WhatsApp everyone, but you might not open an ICICI Bank app everyone. So you need to identify the customer. You need to identify what he needs at that particular point in time, right? Especially when he's there on the platform. So the more the information that you can capture about him during that time itself, the better you will be placed in terms of identifying and in terms of serving him. Right? So we are now developing a lot of data enrichment solutions, and that's our focus in terms of what more data can we provide about these individuals or these businesses that will help you to sell better products to the customer, and also to take certain decisions on risk management and frauds and identity thefts. Now, having said that, we've been extremely cautious and careful in terms of what data we take and how we take the data from the customers, right? I mean, so we only rely on publicly available data sources that the customers themselves have uploaded in the public domain, right? Or we take the data with the consent of the customers, right? Either the consent is provided by them, the OTPs or through various means. So there is an explicit consent that is provided by the customers, like how you see the account aggregator system, right? So they give a consent to pull the bank statements, to providing the OTP that comes onto their mobile phones. So we remain extremely cautious in terms of how we take the data and what sort of data needs to be taken, and once we have the data, the analysis and all that is all geared up towards how my client can better serve that particular customer, right? So that's the business model that we've started with. That's the model that we've adopted, and that's the vision of our company in terms of how do we offer more data enrichment products to our customers.
Very good, very good. So I would also like to understand how exactly what are the kind of cost savings that Digitap offer to their clients, and something on how exactly you streamline the financial operations for the enterprises that you cater to. Some ground level figures if you could share with us.
Sure. See, basically, with regard to the automotive solutions, as I told you, right, the most important differentiating factor that we showed to our clients was the achievement of that scale, and by that the increment in the revenues, right? So, for example, previously when they were used to cater to 10,000 customers, they are now able to cater to 1 lakh customers. The guys who were able to do 1 lakh customers in a month, they were able to do 10 lakh customers in a month, right? That might not translate directly to a 10x growth in the revenues, but they have been able to see at least a 5 to 8x sort of a growth in the revenue levels from the additional scale that they were able to achieve just on the basis of going digital by the customer onboarding solutions that we have done. In terms of our risk management solutions and data enrichment solutions, right, we've been able to cut down on a lot of NPAs, especially on the lending clients that we work with, or the lending tech companies that we work with, right? So we've had that just where we reduced the total non-performing assets of our clients from double digits to single digits, and from higher single digits to lower single digits, like sort of our numbers, right? We provide certain scoring models as well, apart from the underlying data, right? And using those scoring models, our clients have been able to detect that, you know what, this customer is not good to lend, this customer is good to lend, and using the differentiations from those scoring models. In fact, some of our customers were able to bring about a 1% change in the NPAs, right? So previously when the NPAs used to stand at 8%, they were able to reduce that to 6%, right? I mean, just on the basis of our scoring models that our clients use to provide each time, right? That NPA differentiation is a huge differentiation for them. Like, for example, if you are a company that's actually doing a 10 crore business, and if you are losing out 8% of that 10 crore, right? And if you are able to bring that out 6%, the percent out of that 10 crore, which is about 20 lakhs of a number, directly adds to your bottom line, right? Directly adds to your profitability. So that's the huge differentiating factor that we've been able to bring in, where we've reduced the NPAs by at least 1 to 2%, um, um, at 1 to 2%. And using just some of our scoring models, we've been able to show a revenue growth of about 5 to 6x, 5 to 8x using the onboarding solution that we have. And that's the major financial performance differences that we've been able to showcase to our clients. Now, our effort is to now look at how do we cross-sell and upsell, how do we decrease the NPS even further, right? By providing a lot more data solutions.
Very, very good. So, very impressive figures. Means my last question would be around your outlook for the B2B fintech space. So, what according to you are the most promising growth opportunities that you are looking at, and what exactly is your outlook for B2B fintech space for the next 3 to 5 years?
So, if you see even the evaluation of how the government policies have evolved, right? I mean, specifically in the fintech space, right? So, the government is also encouraging a lot of digitization in the fintech, in the financial sector itself.
Yeah.
So they said, you know what? I think we've been the first company to adopt a payment instrument like in India, right? I mean, no other country has it. I mean, we've had so many success stories even from abroad saying that UPI is so easy and such a convenient payment instrument that why can't we have such instruments as well, right? I strongly believe that a lot of the B2B fintech companies, right? I mean, even the likes of an NPCI, I would consider NPCI to be also a large B2B fintech, right? I mean, because it's enabling the entire UPI ecosystem, it's enabling the entire payment ecosystem, like that, right? I mean, now you see the likes of NPCI going outside of India and then setting up the UPI infrastructures, say in the likes of Nepal, Sri Lanka, right? Malaysia, Singapore, and all those places as well, right? My vision and how I see is that there is a huge potential even right now in the Indian space for the B2B. This is the right time for any B2B fintech company to operate in India, right? Because this is the time, or at least the last 1 or 2 years, the time when people have started seeing scale. Up until then, people have said, okay, I want digitization, I want data, I want data in a digital manner. But they have been only doing it with some pieces here and there. But now you see, with the account aggregator ecosystem coming in, people are now to go about not just say digitization on the onboarding space or on the payment space. People are now talking about digitization and automation in data availability as well, right? So no more India is that third world country where you say that, you know what, the data is not available in the format which is readily readable, right? That one of those days when you say that, you know what, if you go to a rural area, you might give me a bank statement which is not readable anymore, right? I might need to have a manual person sit through and look into the bank statement passbook of that particular farmer to understand what his income levels are, right? Now you could just sit at your house and then get the bank statement through the consent of that particular farmer over an account aggregator network, right? And then you are obtaining it in such a digital manner, in such a manner that you could automate the entire process of digitizing everything. I mean, now you have companies coming up which are actually surveying through satellite images, surveying the agri lands and then saying, hey, you know what, this land is actually arable, this land is not, and you could actually go and give these loans to these farmers, right? And whatever the farmer is declaring is actually right? So you are actually now taking out that physical connection aspect of providing these solutions, right? I mean, and while in some sense that might not help, but in a lot of sense, that will actually give you a lot of scale, right? I mean, if you say that for each and every product that I want to sell, I have to reach to that particular customer physically, you will never be able to cater to 140 crore population of India, right? Now, so my vision is that automation, digitization through AI ML is needed. That is going to stay. That is going to be the growth driver for the next 3 to 5 years because BFSI companies in general have started looking at the next. I mean, they were initially focused on serving the top 100 million customers out of the 1.4 billion population we have, right? Now they are actively looking at customers, say from 100 million to the next 400 million, right? So 100 million to 500 set. there are actually companies that are specifically working on the bottommost customers, which will go out there in the tier 3, tier 4 sort of cities, right? Agri loans and all those, right? Now, all this will not be possible without the availability of data and without the availability of some sort of an analysis that you can do on top of the data, right? Government also is taking steps towards making the availability of data as easily as possible, right? In the right manner, of course, with the consent and all that, right? So I think the future in the next 3 to 5 years will be on data. I think the companies who will have the ability to differentiate themselves in terms of how can they interpret the data, I think those companies will make the most. Will make the most during this journey. And I strongly also feel that parallelly in the next 3 to 5 years, I think there is a huge opportunity for a lot of our fintech companies, or especially the B2B fintech companies, to venture outside of India as well, even to the likes of the Western world, where I still believe, the fintech in the Western world is inferior to what we've seen at least in India, right? I mean, especially UPIs, account aggregators place. I mean, the sort of digitization and automation that we have, and it's still not there even in the likes of, say, UK or US, right? They might have better credit information, but not the level of payments and all that might it's still lacking, right? So I see a huge potential for a lot of these companies like this to go and approach those even the Western.
Very good, very good. So I believe you have really given very detailed insights, and of course, data would be the king. Okay, and the organizations who leverage data to run their business would be successful in the near future as well as in the long term as well. So thanks a lot for coming on board. Thanks a lot for giving your in-depth insights on the various questions that we discussed today in this fireside chat. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you for the opportunity, and I really loved being part of this chat.
Sure.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.